So hello guys, welcome back to a new video with ML with Ron. And today we're going to be discussing iterations in Python. So in Python, we predominantly have two very mainstream iterative loops called the for loop, sorry, for loop and the while loop, right? So are the two main iterative loops in Python, right? So that is for your basic understanding. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through both of these loops and see how they work and what is the agenda behind them and what purpose do they serve, right? So so when we want to iterate through something, what exactly do we want to do? We've got to understand that first, right? So now let us say we have um, let's say we have an array or a list, right? Our array has one, two, three, four, sorry, four and five, right? So instead of us going and printing, let us say, so right now our array is doing this, correct? So instead of storing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the array, so basically what the array is doing is it is making our job easier by in how is it making it easier? Now let us say the user has to individually type print one, right? Print one, then print two, right? And then print three, right? Yes. So instead of, and when we run this, we get 1, 2, 3, right? So what we're doing here is we're just wasting a lot of memory because of the lines of code we're writing. We're using up computing time and mainly forget the computing time, forget the memory usage. Mainly we're wasting time of our own, right? You're writing the same statement three times. Why do we have to do that? Right? So an array helps us store these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a single statement, right? So now we have our so how do we print all the elements in the array? What we can do is now let us say we want to print one. Again, it is a very laborious process. We do write ARR of 0, right? We get 1. Then we print ARR of 1. We get 2, 1 and 2, right? Again, it is the same process as before. You're basically wasting a lot of your time and effort. So what we could do is we could completely cut down this task of writing the same statement again and again by using loops. What exactly do we understand by a loop? Something that goes around and comes back to itself, right? Or that is a fully circular loop. This just keeps going until it is terminated, right? So, yeah, we don't consider this a circle because we are not exactly coming back to one. We could do that also, but right now, in our logical purpose, we don't need to come back to one. We need to go from 1 to 5, right? So, what we can do is we could use the keyword for. So, for is our first type of loop, the for loop, right? So for is followed by any letter or identifier which refers to one point in the array, right? So when we say I is a very conventional letter that we use in programming to represent loop variables. So you can use I, J, K, L, M, and onwards for the multi or nested loops or multi loops that you're using. So yeah, we use I here for I in range. So why are we using range? Range is basically to determine the range of our array, right? So yeah, so I range is to determine the range of our array. So what is our array starts with the 0 index and it goes on to 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So it starts at 0 and ends at 4. The range is 0 to 4, right? So that is getting stored here, 0 to 4, right? Now range of array, right? But this, you might think this will do the work, but it won't because you are directly saying range of ARR. But ARR is an array and you cannot directly determine the range of an array, right? Because you need the length to determine the range. You need the first value and the last value, and when you subtract both, you get the range. So for that, you will need to do something called length, the length method. So what length does is len, it calculates the length of your array. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The length of your array is 5, right? And what is the last index? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is your last index and 0 is your first index. So so your range will be, range is equal to last index minus first index, right, is equal to 4 minus 0, 4, right? This is your range. So 4 is going to get stored here, right? Now what it is going to do is we can write, now we can directly do this. Print ARR of I, right? Why are we doing ARR of I? We can directly do I, right? I'm going to show you that example soon. So why? Because in this case, if we write I, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 itself because it is going to do the counting, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that is your, it is going to start at 0 and go to 5, right? So now if I do ARR of I, what this is going to do is this is going to go to each index and extract the value from that index, right? It goes to each index of the array and pulls out that value of the index. So when we run it, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when we just wrote I, we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why did we get that? It is because it is giving us a count of the number of variables of, what do you say, of the numerals that exist inside the array. So, or the indexes, right? Indices. So it starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 indices exist in the array. Now let us say I increase this 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I can put value 25 here, right? So if you just print I, you will not get 25 as the last. You will get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You'll get 9. If you just print I, yeah, you just got 9. See, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But now if we do ARR of I, sorry, yes, ARR of I, you'll get everything up to 25, right? So that is how the for loop works. Now we can give an example of the while loop. Let us comment this out, right? This is our array, correct? We don't need this also, to be fair. Just comment this out. Actually, we'll give you another example with the while loop. So we say, so let's say we take a number n. I'm sorry. So let us give it a value 1. All right. So our value of n is 1. Now let us say we want to print the values of n all the way from 1 to 20 without using individual print statements starting from 1 to 20. Like we don't want to write 20 print statements. How do we achieve this using the while loop, right? So while loop is nothing but basic English, honestly, to be fair. So we just write the while keyword, while in just basic English meaning, while your n is less than 20, we give it a condition. Okay. So n is equal to 1 while your n is less than 20, which is true. N is 1, right? It is less than 20. So it goes inside. It passes through this condition. It has been given an entry pass. It enters the loop. Now, what we can do is print, just to show the user, we can print the value of n, right? Now it will print n is equal to 1 itself. So what we can do now is n plus is equal to 1, right? What we are doing here now is incrementing the value of 1 for every iteration that is performed, right? So n begins with 1, it comes here, it validates this statement, n is less than 20, which is true, right? Okay, let's give it less than equal to 20 because we want to print the value up to 20, right? Not before 20. So it validates, it is true, it enters, it prints n is 1, so it prints 1. It goes n plus is equal to 1. All right, or to make it easier, this is just a simpler way to write it. But if you want an easier depiction, n plus 1, n is equal to n plus 1. What we're doing here is n is currently 1, right? So 1 plus 1 becomes 2. 2 gets stored in n. Now this value of n gets updated to 2. It again enters. 2 is less than equal to 20. It prints 2 and it becomes 3, right? So let us run and see. Yep. So it starts at 1, goes all the way up to 20, right? So this was the while loop. So this is a very basic example of the for loop and the while loop.